Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to Dirty Martini. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're having an amazing day. I am so excited about today's episode because, as you can probably tell by the title, well, to be honest, I title my episodes once I record and edit them. I don't create a title and then go into record it. So I don't know if I'm actually going to title it something regarding the concert, but let's just assume that I do. So let's just say that, as you can probably tell by the title, probably keyword because the title is still a mystery to me as well. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about my experience at Role Models No Place Like Tour concert. And I know that maybe some of you who have been here for a while might be thinking, wait, I have listened to this episode before. Did I just accidentally press play on an episode from a year ago? No, babe, don't worry. This is not deja vu, although maybe. I actually just went to his tour again. He, in February, released a deluxe album of his Kansas Anymore album. He released 4 new songs, so he obviously had to do a whole ass entire tour to promote those 4 songs. And I loved it. First of all, these 4 new songs he released are such beautiful conclusion and encapsulation of that musical emotional era of his. And the thing is, I have been supporting Role Model for near 10 years now. I have supported him ever since like before he had an album out, and I have loved his art all throughout. But Kansas Anymore is his best work yet. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not to diminish RX or any other previous project. It's just so fascinating to me how, because it is similar to his previous art, but Kansas Anymore is a few levels up, in my opinion, when it comes to the sound of it and also the lyrics. The lyrics on Kansas Anymore are some of the best lyrics, in my opinion, when it comes to pop and like nowadays, because I'm sorry, I've said this before. You know what? I'm not sorry. This is my opinion. Tucker Pillsbury, aka Role Model, in my humble opinion, is one of the best lyricists out there. And it's just so fascinating to me how he can encapsulate in such a fascinating way everyday experiences and everyday pain, and just pay attention to things that are overlooked and oftentimes taken for granted. And it's just so inspiring to see pain turn into something so beautiful and something that connects people around the world together, and just something that can help you heal. Because the art, I've mentioned this before. If I said it once, I'll say it 100 times. We all know this by now. Art is not for the consumer. Art is for the artist. And because it's so authentic, that's why I think it just resonated with people so beautifully. And I just know that the Kansas Anymore album, especially the deluxe version, The Longest Goodbye, hates to see me coming. I basically, when I hear this album, I abuse the repeat option, the repeat button on Spotify, because especially recently I've been unhealthily obsessed with The Longest Goodbye. It's just I want, if anyone out there listens to music the way I listen to music, aka like just transcending just sound and lyrics, but it's more emotion and vibe, and you can send me songs that make you feel the same way The Longest Goodbye does, please do so. I want to create a playlist because for me, that type of music, that type of sound just speaks to my soul, and it just something so nicely in my brain. And so obviously when I saw that he was touring, I got super excited, and I knew I had to be there The problem is, tickets sold out in a minute. And I remember when I tried to originally buy my ticket, I couldn't get, like, the platform kept crashing, and I was like, damn, my small artist is no longer that small and unrecognizable. And then obviously Sally, when the wine runs out, blew up. So I was very, very distraught when I couldn't get a ticket, to the point that I texted the tour managers and the tour Instagram page, and I was like, hey divas, please, I really need to shake ass with Sabrina. So can you please, like, I don't know, like, be so quirky and add another date in the Netherlands? Obviously nobody replied. But I set an alarm to be notified every single time someone was reselling their ticket on the platform. So, because I was determined to go. Had I seen the concert a couple months prior? Yes. Is it just 4 new songs? Yes. Was it all worth it? Absolutely. So eventually, because the thing is, when I would get notified, by the second I get into the platform to buy that ticket that is being resold, it would already be sold. And eventually I managed to get my ticket, and I was so incredibly happy. So obviously I started thinking about the preparation of my outfit, because if you guys remember from last year when I went to see him, I created a design of a t-shirt that said, like, there is so much lore to all of it, and you really need to be chronically online to appreciate the designs I create. But basically he was nominated against Harry Styles for one of People's Magazine's sexiest man alive categories, and he lost to Harry Styles. And then I just created a t-shirt which said your sexiest man alive, sexiest man alive. And it was young Harry Styles from, like, OG One Direction days, wearing a shirt with Saint Laurent cowboy on that shirt. Yeah, it was a t-shirt within the t-shirt within the t-shirt. I know, a lot of lore, but it was funny. And actually, I wore the cardigan that I crocheted to get to the Harry Styles concert. So there was, like, I am a whore for details and a whore for references and subtle meanings and metaphors. I love them so much. And this actually, for those of you who remember, this is a reminder. For those of you who have not listened to the episode, maybe go listen to it. But I was noticed, and they posted me, like, the official account of the tour posted me on their main grid, which was very, very nice. And I felt like very, oh wow, what a cute moment. Like, from, because I really wanted to see him when I first moved here, because he was touring again, his first ever album, but I couldn't, because like, the tickets back then were 20 euros, and I just simply could not afford to go, because I've told this story before. I came with, like, a couple €100 to last me 6 months, and I was like, yeah, I really can't. I really want to, but I can't. So now I was determined to go and make up for lost experience. Um, and I am just so happy I got the chance to go eventually. And this time around, oh my God, if a potential future recruiter is listening to this, it's just humor. Let's not cancel comedy, let's not censor comedy. But this time around, the t-shirt I made was, again, a white t-shirt, again, lore, and blah, 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 blah. And he has this one song called Scumbag. And the t-shirt itself, I wanted it to say scumbag, but I didn't want it to just, like, spell scumbag. So I just created a design that was like, the S was Sabrina Carpenter's S, because at his previous store, he would always present himself as Sabrina Carpenter or Louis Capaldi or Jacob Elordi or something like this, like, just random people. So I just created the scumbag spelling out by putting in Sabrina Carpenter's S, then an emoji that is like the tree drops resembling, and then a bag, but not just a bag, a Birkin bag, because he's been saying that this store around, that the goal of this store is to get him to be able to afford a Birkin bag. So I just created a scumbag merch, and I am super happy with the final result and the design. And yeah, so I wore this to the concert, and the concert itself was on a Monday, which, to be honest, I wasn't necessarily a big fan of. Well, to be honest, I fully hated it because I had lectures before that, and the concert itself was in Tilburg, and I live quite far away from Tilburg. I live like 3.5 hours away from there. And the thing is, the venue itself was only general admission. And I've said this before when I've recalled my previous concert experiences. I have sworn to never get a general admission again, and to never have standing places and standing seats, quote unquote, at concerts, because for me, that's just really not it. Like, someone really needs to be wow for me to devote that much time. And I'm not trying to undermine role model in any way. It's just like, I've had really terrible experiences being in general admission and like the whole queuing aspect, and I just really wanted to avoid that. And I was not super happy about the fact that it was on Monday, that it was 3.5 hours away, and that it was only general admission. But it is what it is. And so after university, I had to immediately go home, get changed as soon as possible, and leave for Tilburg. But the thing is, I don't know what is it with me and me being just cursed or incredibly unlucky when it comes to public transportation. But this time around, as per usual, something just had to go to shit. And the bus that was supposed to take me to my place at first did not stop at my bus stop, despite me pressing the button, despite me literally yelling at the driver, "Hey, excuse me." He didn't stop. So I had to run from the next stop to my place, which basically sacrificed the 30-minute window I had until the train. So I had to catch a later train, doesn't matter. And it's just, I was very tense. I don't know what is it with me and always just public transportation working against me. But he didn't even say sorry. And that really pissed me off, because I remember, I don't know if I told this story on the podcast, but a few weeks ago, I was supposed to hang out with a friend at my place, and he was supposed to come to my place way later than I was supposed to be already at home after work. And that's why I was like, oh, let me just catch the bus from work, and I can be home as fast as possible so I can prep stuff, because we were having dinner. And the bus kept on getting delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed, to the point that the 35-minute walk it would have taken me to walk from work to my place ended up being an hour bus ride, simply because I had to wait so much for the bus. Because also, when I got on the bus, when it came time to get ready for me to get off on my stop, on the stop before, a guy tried to get off and the door simply did not open. So the bus just continued because the driver did not see that the doors didn't open and people didn't get out. And because we were way in the back. And by the time it came for time for my bus stop, because initially I was like, no, that guy's just stupid. He probably doesn't know how to open the doors and like didn't press the button correctly. And then it comes my turn, and I also cannot open the door simply because the door is not opening. So I also missed my bus stop, and the next one is quite far away in the middle of very main road that is semi fast road, semi highway type of situation, just like far away from any walkable place. And I went up to the driver and I was like, hey, the doors didn't open, and like people have been trying to get up for a few stops, and all they said was, oh, and just continued, didn't stop, didn't do anything. So just left us another kilometer down the road at this like highway type of situation. And I had to walk from there to mine. And that's why it turned into an hour. And my friend was at my place way before I came to my place. Doesn't matter. So I get ready as fast as possible. And the thing is, I was very torn between two scenarios. Because the thing is, a 3.5 hour bus ride can be utilized for productivity. We all know my problem with productivity, don't even get me started. But the thing is, I really had a lot to study. Like I mentioned last week, just this new blog is going to be something else. Guys, really think hard before you decide to enroll for a master's program. Um, but basically, I was very torn between whether I should take my laptop and study on the train, because back and forth, that's 7 hours. And that can be utilized really nicely, because the day after, I was supposed to have a 9 a.m. lecture. And after that 9 a.m. lecture, I was supposed to go to work. And the thing is, why was I torn? Well, because I would have to leave my laptop. I cannot take it in the venue. I would have to leave it at a locker. And I was very torn because the concert was scheduled to finish at 10:40. And the last train to where I live was scheduled to depart 10:42, and the train station itself was 10-minute walk from the venue. But because I went online and I was like, let me be a researcher, I Googled and I saw that the concert actually on average ends 10:20, 10:25, depending. So I was like, I can make it work. But because I wasn't sure of this schedule thingy that it was going to work, because it required everything to fall into place perfectly, and we all know how things go for me. Like, you've listened to the podcast before, you I assume. If not, welcome. I hope you stay around. um Things, if something can go wrong, the chances are it most likely will. And most of the times I try to flip the switch on my perspective, when it comes to seeing those stuff and interpreting them. And I'm like, oh, it's just adding to the lore. It's just another story for the podcast. But at a certain point, it does get exhausting and it feels like everything is working against you. Because if this didn't work out, thankfully I had a plan B, but I really didn't want to have to do plan B. Because what this plan B entailed, you may ask? Well, if let's say I missed the train, I would have to catch a train from Tilburg to Amsterdam to Schiphol, the airport, because this is the only place that is open 24/7. And from there, I would have to wait 2 hours to catch a Flixbus and ride another almost 3 hours to where I live. And because it would arrive early in the morning, around 5:30 a.m., if of course everything would go according to schedule, but like it's Flixbus, more often than not it is late. And because there aren't any public transport buses that time around, I would have to walk from the train station to my place, which is 45 minutes. And like I mentioned, a 9 a.m. lecture, which we all know me, I would go to, and then work, which meant that I would be a walking corpse, basically. And I really, really didn't want to do this because it's just not a pleasant experience. I've had to do this multiple times when I've had to go to the airport to fly back to Bulgaria. And it takes forever. It's extremely uncomfortable. It's extremely cold, and it's extremely stressful and overwhelming. And you know what? I'm not going to shit on Flixbus, because Flixbus, have you always been late? Yes, you have. But have you taken me the places you were supposed to take me? Yes, you have. Because unlike NS, which is the national railway in the Netherlands, you may have disappointed me, but you have never failed me. And you're cheap, which I'm very thankful for. So Flixbus, babe, you've been there for me. You've been the Martina to role model for me. You've been there for me when nobody else was. You loved me when I was nobody. So shout out to Flixbus, I guess. But I really just didn't want to do this. So I was trying to very precisely calculate how to do this. And I was thinking, okay, do I take my laptop and leave it at the locker? But at the end, when everybody's going to the lockers, if this is the thing that makes me miss the train, I will be so incredibly frustrated. So I was very torn. But at the end of it, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I have a plan B. Even if I have to do the plan B, I still have a plan. I will not be stranded, and I will make it home, and I can sleep on the train / the bus, supposedly. And I was going to Tilburg. I was studying throughout the entire time. I was fighting with every single thing in my brain, trying not to fall asleep, because that day I had to wake up early to enroll for a course. And I was just very tired, really, really tired. And when I went to Tilburg, it was already quite late. It was raining, it was dark outside, and I really needed to find my way to the venue where I would leave my bag with my laptop. And then on my way there, I see two girls who I became acquainted with the last time I went to see Role Model, and who had invited me to queue with them. But like I told you, I had a lecture, so I couldn't go queue with them. And they were like, oh, we're just going to the train station to leave our stuff there. And I was like, you are geniuses. You're godsend. How did I not think about using the lockers at the train station? Because there is definitely going to be a crowd in front of the lockers at the venue, but there's not going to be a crowd in front of the lockers at the train station. So I went back with them, and I left my stuff in the lockers in the train station, which was beautiful, because that meant if I had to rush to get to the train station after the concert, I would not have to rush with my backpack on my back. I would just be able to leave the venue ASAP and head to the train station immediately. So that was genius on their part. So we went there. They had queued for 10 hours, so they were way in front of me. Although I have to say, I arrived 20 minutes before the doors opened. When I went inside, I was not that far off from the stage. And okay, you know what? Let me tell you how it went. So first of all, let's start with the positive. I think this man has a beautiful voice. His live vocals are simply unmatched, and I like his stage presence. I am genuinely happy that I got the chance to go and experience that tour and those songs again with the 4 additional songs. And I know I mentioned this before, like earlier in the episode, about his lyrics, but they genuinely speak to me so deeply. And I know I said this before, it's just so mesmerizing and inspiring to see pain turned into unity and pain turned into community. For those who know, For those who know, if you know, you know, is what I'm trying to say. Oh my God. And just turned into something that can get you through life. It's like, I'm not saying that pain itself is beautiful, but pain can be turned into something beautiful. And well, now when I think about it, most of my poems I have written with tears in my eyes and pain in my heart. So maybe there is something inspiring about pain because it enforces change and it forces growth. So yeah, um, I was very happy. I have to admit, you know how earlier in the year I created this episode reminiscing back, commemorating the 1 year anniversary since the Vienna Eras Tour. And I basically wanted to set myself free from all the anxiety it was causing me. And I don't know if I didn't feel anxious because it was a small venue, because it was 2 or 3 thousand people, which is not small, but compared to a stadium tour, it is, a bit more humble. So I didn't feel anxiety. I actually did not think about the Eras Tour until I had to go through the doors of the venue. And I was like, oh, shit. Uh, because this concert, when I went to see it last year, was the first concert I went to since Vienna. And I remember I was very, very anxious, and I was so happy I was right next to the door last year, despite it hindering my view because, I was quite far away from the stage. Um, and there were no screens in the venue. But I was next to the door, which meant that I could run if, God forbid, it was necessary. And this time around, I did not feel anxiety about this, which was so freeing, and it made me actually be able to enjoy the concert without fearing for my life. Because concerts and just experiencing art shouldn't be something that makes us fear for our life. It shouldn't be something that we hope to survive. It should be a given that you get the chance to go home safely and just enjoy your experience while there. What I will say I was anxious about though, and like I won't lie to you, this is something that at first I was like, oh no, because this was the first solo concert I had gone to since I last went to see him. So, in a year, which may not sound like a long time, but it felt like a lifetime, this 1 year that passed, although it went by so incredibly quickly. And basically, I was very anxious because I love going places alone. I love socializing by myself, which I know sounds like an oxymoron, but I just love going to the cinema by myself. I love going to stand up comedy by myself. And I used to love going to concerts by myself. So I was very surprised that this is something I was anxious about, because I was like, oh, what if I was getting anxious about my anxiety, which created this vicious cycle. And basically, I was like, oh, what if I just get anxious and I just don't let myself enjoy the concert, and I'm just like crossing my arms in front of my body the entire time and just don't sing and don't dance and don't enjoy myself because I'm so anxious that people will perceive me and people will care that I'm alone. And then, thank God, all of this poisonous mentality and all these poisonous thoughts simply evaporated the second he came out on stage and started performing, because that genuinely just flipped a switch in my brain, and I just started enjoying myself and started dancing and singing and just having so much fun. I am happy that I could overcome this anxiety and that I was aware of it and I could name it, because if it was something I was feeling without being able to name what it exactly was, then it would be very difficult to deal with. But I'm lucky that it went by somewhat quickly and I could actually eventually enjoy the concert. But it did feel a little bit awkward that I was by myself at first, because during the intermission before between the opener and the main act, and also even before the opener came out on stage, I could see that people were with friends. They were in groups, or like at least two of them, and it felt quite isolating because I could see them, taking pictures, talking to each other, making jokes, being excited, having fun. And I was there by myself and I didn't have anyone to talk to. And I tried to strike a conversation with these two girls in front of me, but it just didn't really work out. Like it didn't click, which was fine. Like it doesn't have, like, I don't have to make friends in order to have a nice experience there. But I guess this is just the anxiety that pushed me to try to socialize. And also, I was trying to listen in because obviously it's me. I am curious. I'm a curious George. And I tried to listen to the conversation of those two girls that I tried to talk to, because I was like, oh, maybe if I hear them say something, I can just, chime in. This sounds like a creep, but like, guys, I promise you, it was not with malintent. It's just like a girl trying to make friends. And the thing is, they were speaking in Dutch, which I may not be able to communicate effectively in, but I can understand it. And I was like, why am I not understanding a single word? Because is it like because I was just mainly exposed to the Dutch accent here where I live, and I'm just actually not able to understand Dutch, but I'm able to understand the accent of the Dutch in the community I live in? No, they were just Belgian. And it's just like a completely different accent compared to the Dutch in the Netherlands. And I was like, oh my God, thank God I'm not having a stroke. They're just Belgian. That sounded like offensive. I promise you it's not. It's just different. It's not what my ear has been trained to listen to and understand. Um, when the opener came out, and the opener was this British singer called Chloe Slater, and I had never heard of her before. I had not consumed her music, but she had a really nice stage presence. The thing is, okay, this is where the complaining starts, because it's me, so there's always must be a part of complaining in the episode. The venue itself, again, didn't have screens, which I can understand why. Like, it's a small venue, the stage is somewhat lifted, everyone is supposed to be able to see. But I still think, like, come on, bro, like, put a lid, like a screen. It doesn't have to be a massive screen, like, just put a TV up there and, like, stream it. And I know that then this is a lot more expensive because you need a camera operator and you need, like, someone to take care of that, and it is more expensive, but it will make, like, I would rather pay for that and be able to see the experience all throughout than pay less money and see him through a small window that was closed many a times. And basically, during the opener, during Chloe Slater's set, I could not see shit. Now, here's the thing. I live in the Netherlands, which is where people are famous for being tall. I come from the Balkans. I am an average Balkan height, which is significantly shorter than the average Dutch height. And it was very frustrating because I could not see for the majority of the set. And during Chloe Slater's set, I could only look at her guitarist, who, by the way, looked like Rafe Cameron. And I don't mean Drew Starkey, I mean Rafe Cameron, but like with long hair, like the first seasons. And I was like, okay, I'm not complaining. I genuinely saw people take pictures of him and send them in group chats, and I was like, okay, real. But like people were just like jumping up and down, and I saw her, like her Chloe, I mean, do a cartwheel, but that's all I saw. I just, like, the girlie was dancing, giving it her all, and I could not see shit. And that was very frustrating because I was like, okay, I know role model is a tall guy, but how tall must he be for me to be able to see him? But thankfully, during the intermission, there was some readjustment in the crowd, and there was a small window of 10 centimeters that opened up that I could see him through the crowd. The problem is that during the intermission, there were these two girls who were like tapped me on the shoulder and were like, "Hey, can we pass?" And I was like, "I need to sneeze. I cannot sneeze. No, now it's in my nose and it's tickling and it's frustrating incredibly. Oh my god, I need to go buy pepper. Yeah, okay, I found my assignment of the day for after I finish recording. And they were like, "Yeah, we need to pass." And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, of course." And I thought they were just going to their friends. No. They just decided to position themselves straight in front of me. And I was like, that was so disappointing. God forbid a girl decides to do someone some good. Like, how difficult is it not to do that? Like, I'm sorry, I'm like, you're much taller than me, and I know, like, you also want to be up close so that you can see, but think of us short people. Because I could stay in front of you and you would be able to see perfectly. But if you stay in front of me, all I see is your back. And if I wanted to see your back, I wouldn't travel in total 7 hours and pay that money to just go in a venue somewhere far away and not with like the uncertainty of whether I'll make it home that day or not. Like, that was just like so inconsiderate. But we all know me. I'm not like a confrontational, well, I don't know if you know that about me, but I'm not a confrontational person. I won't start shit. If something is started, I will finish it, but I'm not going to start it. So I didn't say anything. I think someone else did, so they shifted a little bit. But basically, what is the thing that really, really frustrated me is that during the concert, two people in front of me, there was this person who filmed everything. And I mean everything. From the very first note until the very last. And I get it. I am also someone who takes videos and pictures when I'm at a concert, when I'm at an event like this. Obviously, it's something you want to be able to look back on, you want to commemorate it, you want to immortalize it in a way. That is why we take pictures, because we want to immortalize an experience. We want to share it with others. We want to just capture it and look back on it and just remember. But the thing is, if you're only going to go to a concert and capture the entire thing without even looking from your phone, like, you're there, for God's sake, the person is in front of you. Can you actually experience something if all you do is film it? Because, like, you're creating a mental barrier and also a physical one between you and that person. And it was so incredibly frustrating because for a big chunk of the time, a big chunk of the concert, all I could see was him through her phone. I could not see role model as he was there. I could only see him through her phone, to the point that I genuinely thought about snatching her phone away. And, like, I know I said I'm not a confrontational person, but I was on the verge because, like, come on, like, I know that there's probably someone I myself annoyed, someone behind me, because I was, like, my hands were up in the air and I was dancing and, like, I was waving my hands. So that probably annoyed some people who were, let's say, trying to film. But I did not film everything, period. And that was just, maybe I didn't film it because I was at the concert previously, and I can understand why you want to film. I'm not judging you for filming, but I was like praying to the gods of being like, oh, let her battery die, or like, how does she have that much storage? Speaking of, right before I went to the concert, I asked my housemate to take pictures of me with my t-shirt because I was very proud of the design. Like I said, like, here's the thing: if marketing doesn't work out, if God forbid Dirty Martini doesn't work out, I will always have a future in t-shirt design, in graphic t-shirt design about the most niche topics. I will be able to make t-shirts that will only serve a single person on planet Earth, and I take pride in this. And that's on being chronically online. But basically, what I wanted to say is, like, yeah, my housemate was taking pictures of me with my outfit, and she took two pictures, and a message on my screen popped up that said, "I'm sorry, your iPhone ran out of storage." And timing couldn't have been worse. I think that going to concerts, because again, obviously, you want to film something for yourself. Running out of phone storage right before you go to an event like a concert, a festival, or something like this is top three situations where your phone storage will run out. Other one is probably before you go on a vacation, and there's another one on the podium as well. I just really cannot think of this. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. But yeah, I had to delete so much stuff because, okay, my friends and I, we use iMessage, and one of our friends, he sends pictures of everything, like like he sends pictures of pictures of pictures of pictures. And when I went into my iPhone storage thingy under settings, there was 17 gigabytes just from him. And I was so pissed because the thing is, I have switched off the syncing up the media content I am sent on iMessage. I don't want it on my phone, and I don't know why it still takes up space there. So I had to go and delete this, but it kept on crashing. So that was very, very frustrating. Eventually, I did manage to free up quite a lot of gigabytes, but this is something that's really frustrating about iPhone, and I really miss my Samsung when it comes to this, because these are the two brands I have an experience with when it comes to cell phones, because Samsung was the first cell phone I received when smartphone, not cell phone, that I received when I was like 15 or 16 or whatever. And before that, I only had like a cell phone with like buttons and stuff. It wasn't like a touch screen phone. And what I really liked about Samsung, and I assume many other brands do it as well, is just Apple that doesn't. You can insert card for storage, and you basically expand the amount of content your phone can store. But Apple doesn't do this. They because obviously they want to be able to charge you for iCloud, and they want you to be able to charge you for more expensive phones. So that's on capitalism, guys. But anyways, I had to delete quite a lot of stuff. And I was just thinking, when this girl was filming, how is she not running out of storage? Because genuinely filmed the entire, it was like what, hour and 20 minutes set, filmed it from the start until the very end. I was like, how much storage do you have? But yeah, that was really quite frustrating that I could not see. And that is why I don't like general admission. Not only do I not like it because of the queuing and like the terrible experience in general admission I had when I went to see The Weeknd, but it's not made for people who are shorter, and if they're in the back, they will not see anything. We will not see anything. And that's why I'm a devoted let's book a seat type of person, and this is a non-negotiable for me, of course, if the venue allows it, because this time around the venue simply did not allow it. But I am overall very happy with the concert, and I don't say this lightly. I am very proud that I am a fan of his. And it was very funny that he remembered the chant we did last year when the concert was in Utrecht, and it was just fun. It was like a really nice experience. What really frustrated me was, so during Sally When the Wine Runs Out, which is one of the deluxe songs, he always brings up someone from the crowd, or like, let's say in the first few concerts from this current leg of the tour, he also brought out Lewis Capaldi and Niall Horan, which I was like, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be a jealous person, so I'm trying not to envy, but my God. But you know what? Considering what my experience was during Sally When the Wine Runs Out, I am happy it wasn't Niall Horan or like, I don't know, like Louis Tomlinson out there, because I would have been hyper frustrated. Because So everybody's like, oh, who's going to be Sally? And like, okay, this is probably embarrassing. I was really hoping that I would somehow be Sally. I know that's pretentious. I know that's, but whatever. Like, I'm not embarrassed to say I really wanted to be Sally. I I just wanted to go upstage and vibe with him. Like, sure, maybe I would have been stage frozen, like I would have had stage fright, but I just think it would have looked great on my LinkedIn. And like, we're doing it all for the lore of the LinkedIn, guys. And um basically, if I was Sally, you would have heard by now. You wouldn't have to hear on an episode 2 weeks after I went to the concert. Trust me, you would have known by now. So obviously I wasn't Sally. And when the girl comes out on stage, everybody left their phones, and all I could see was a sea of phones. And I myself filmed stuff. I know it's frustrating and I know it's hypocritical for me to judge now, but it was very frustrating because I could not see Sally at all. I had to basically, when the concert ended, I had to Google and see who Sally was. And people were saying in the comments that it was a very fun experience, like that Sally, and that she was the best Sally of the tour so far. And I was there and I couldn't see it because all I could see was phones. And I'm genuinely not trying to be like quirky and oh, I'm so different right now, but I think, like, yes, I also want to commemorate the experience and take phone like pictures and videos of myself at the concert, but I long for a time when smartphones were not a thing at concerts and people would just go there and be in the moment and experience it. And what you would carry home is not like 30 gigabytes worth of content, but you would carry home an experience, a feeling, a memory. And because the thing is, let's be fucking for real. How many of us go back and look at the pictures and the videos we take at concerts? If you take like 20 videos, each video 3 minutes of every single song, how often do you look at them? Chances are you don't look at them at all. And I don't know, this is something that's really frustrating. And like, for example, that's why I'm not really opposed when, for example, when I go to a stand-up comedy show and they lock away our phones in pouches so that we don't film it because they're filming it for a special. But also because it just forces you to be in the place there and experiencing it there. And just like, you're not there for the Instagram, you're not there for the TikTok, you're not there for Snapchat, because Snapchat is so popular here, guys. Like, you would be surprised. Everybody uses Snapchat. And I'm like, didn't we leave this back in 2016? Also, Vine is coming back. And what I will say is that Vine coming back, I was never on Vine because, like I mentioned, I got a smartphone pretty late. Like, I got it when, like, I don't think Vine was out anymore or whatever. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know when Vine died. But basically, I think it was Musically by then. So I don't think I ever got to experience Vine. I have seen Vines, but I've seen compilations on YouTube or like Vines posted on like Instagram or whatever. But I never actually experienced the platform itself. And now it's coming back. And what I will say, from what I heard, it is going to ban AI content, which we all know where I stand. And I'm hyper happy and excited about this. And I just sometimes sit and wonder, because technically Vine was the thing that, let's use the word revolutionized. Vine was the platform that revolutionized content and just made short form content so appealing. And because of this short form content, we became more impatient. Our attention spans basically were eradicated. And I just wonder if, because obviously one led to the other and the other and the other and the other. I just sometimes sit and wonder if the person who created Vine has taken stock as to how, on a larger scale, they have affected society and what it means for, because like short form content is not going to stop. It is what attracts us. It is what's addicting to us. It's what's tending to our current needs for immediacy of entertainment, and it's made us more impatient. So I don't know. It's interesting, but that's maybe just me being like media studies graduate and like a current marketing researcher, let's say so. And that's maybe why I'm so fascinated with all of this. But yeah, so what was I saying? Yeah, the concert itself was really nice. And I obviously, I know you could have said, you now can say, oh, if you were so worried about missing the train, you can also leave early. And I'm sorry, excuse me? I would never do that. I would never do that. Like, I would rather, if let's say I was in a car with a car, I would rather sit in traffic, but because like the end of the concert for most of the times they save their largest hits for the end of the concert. Oh yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I didn't see Sally. That was the thing. Yeah, I was frustrated, but it is what it is. And basically, I was never going to miss Sally when the wine runs out or Deeply Still in Love. I would never. Like, what was the point of me going there if I'm going to miss two of the most upbeat, poppy hits? Like, that's just, no. And, so I was like, whatever happens, happens. But I was tracking the time. And basically, the concert ended at 10:25. So there was hope. I had 15 minutes to get to the train station, which was a 10-minute walk away, and I had to first get out of the venue. But because of the crowd, it took a few minutes. I know there are probably people who cursed me out. It's okay. I deserved it. I was trying to find my way through the crowd to get out as fast as possible because I just refused to let go of the last hope I had of making it home at 2:30 a.m. instead of 6 a.m. And when I went out of the venue, when I tell you I sprinted, I mean I sprinted. And obviously I recorded it on Strava because if I didn't record it on Strava, that would mean it didn't happen. I ran, thank God I go running on the weekly basis so that I would be able to build up my endurance and would be able to handle a kilometer run, like a kilometer sprint, because this is what happened. And I ran, it wasn't my best pace ever, but it was my second best pace ever. Like I set a personal record for half a mile. So that was something. But I ran and it was in the rain. It was in a city I had never been in before. It was dark. It wasn't smart. Don't do this. This is not safe. Do as I say, not as I do about everything I ever say on planet Earth. What I say on other planets, not my problem anymore. But basically, I ran as if my life depended on it because my life in that day depended on it. And I ran, I took my bag from the train station's lockers, and I made it to the train platform with 5 minutes to spare. And if that is not impressive, I don't know what is. And there was rain on me, there was sweat on me. I was just not a pleasant smell to be around, but it's okay because I made it home safely. Yes, I still had to walk those 45 minutes from the train station to my place because at 2:30 there's also no public transportation in my city anymore, but it's way better than walking at 6 a.m., And it was just so much. Like, I felt so relieved. And shout out to Flixbus because I know they would have been there for me. But I'm happy I didn't have to use it. And I am happy I took my laptop because on my way there I studied. On the way back I also studied, which maybe I shouldn't have. I should have just stayed with the emotion of the concert and the exhilaration and the euphoria. But no, I had to go against myself and against what I deserved to feel and actually experience academic literature, which wasn't the smartest. And I'm a little bit pissed at myself about this because I just don't let myself live beyond university. So I'm pissed at myself for this, but then later when I had to have the readings done by a certain day, I was happy that I had done it. So pros and cons, but it's all about balance. And I'm struggling to find this balance, but it's something I have identified so I can start working on it. And I am happy I took my backpack, my big backpack, not only because I could take my laptop, but also because I could take water and food, because everything at that point was closed and I was starving because I didn't want to eat because before the concert, because I was worried of whether I will make it after the concert or not. So I lost my appetite, but after the concert I was starving. And shout out to the little bakery that again pulled through and saved my ass. And again, I've told you this before, like when I need to go somewhere, travel for a long time, I normally stay dehydrated because I don't want to have to use the train bathrooms or whatever. This time I did it again, which wasn't really smart, because considering that I hadn't eaten and I was dehydrated, the concert could have gone really badly. I could have fainted or worse. But thankfully, nothing like this happened and I was safe. But yeah, I made it home. I could, I showered and blah, 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 blah. Well, then I went to work because they changed my lecture. Thank God I didn't have to go to a 9 a.m. class and I could directly just go to work. So I had like an extra hour and a half sleep. But the problem is that since then, my sleep schedule has been fucked. And this entire week, I have been sleeping at most 6 hours per day, which has not been enough for me to restore myself over the night. And today was my one and only day that I could allow myself to sleep, and a friend called me at 8:30 a.m. And when I tell you, I was on the verge of blocking him, and if he was in front of me, I would have smacked the shit out of him. Don't bother me. If it's just like, don't call me in the morning. Just don't. Never. I will, like, you're dead to me if you do that. I'm sorry. I value my sleep, and I myself deprive myself of sleep enough. You shouldn't be the one depriving me of sleep as well. So, yeah, the concert was a really nice experience. I'm so happy I got a chance to go. And I think the next time I see him, because hopefully he will tour again and hopefully I will have the chance to go see him again, I will wait for it to be a new album, like a new set list, because I had experienced that set list anymore again. And I'm not saying it's a bad set list, it's just because I've experienced it already. I feel like I want something fresh and new. Although those songs, I will always have a soft spot for them in my heart because they're such good songs. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll see, like, if he releases a new album in a few years or not. We'll see. But until he does that, until I see him on tour again, I want to thank you all so much for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, and don't support genocide. Bye. Oh, guys. What I will say is that despite me not having interacted with Chloe Slater before, she had a really nice voice, and what I respected her so much for is the fact that she spoke up about Palestine on stage. It takes a lot of courage to do that, so I am happy someone utilized their platform for something good.